Good morning, 7th grade. All right, I want to start off with an announcement. I took all those old assignments that used to be on your Khan Academy list and I replaced it with a shorter list, but now we're actually going to be moving on to new topics. So it's not going to be the review topics. It's going to be some newer topics. Except for this area and perimeter of a circle. I remember we took that assessment and I said we would go over this. So this is the only like review kind of thing that we'll do, but it's very good that you guys are doing it. I already see some people have already started, so that's good. I'm gonna start it right now, and let's see how many we get through. Because area and circumference pretty quick. We're gonna get through it pretty quick. So let's try circumference of a circle. Which, if you remember the formula, I hope you can see it. It is circumference equals. There's two ways to write it. The way we were writing it was diameter times pi. That's like my favorite way to write it. Or diameter is just the same thing as two radiuses, right? So you can do 2 times radius times pi. That is also circumference. So whichever one you prefer. If you prefer doing 2 times radius times pi, that's because that's easier in your head. That's better. I like using this one, but they both mean the same thing. So here it says, what is the circumference of the following circle? Well, circumference is going to be diameter, which is 4 times pi. Now, if you have a calculator, you would just do 4 times 3.14, or you can write 4 pi. I'm actually going to do 4 times 3.14 by hand. So let's do that real quick. It's going to take like 10 seconds. That's how you do it. 4 times 4, 16, carry a 1. 4 times 1, 4, plus 1, that's a 5. Put a decimal point, and then 4 times 3, 12. Easy. 12.56 centimeters is the circumference. So let's enter that. 12.56 centimeters. Hooray. Hold on real quick. Desktop audio needs to be muted. There we go. Okay, let's move on. Next question. You know what? I gotta move my... This whiteboard has to move, right? I think, or is this... There's a good spot for it, right? That is a good spot for it. I'm gonna leave it. Okay. By the way, 7th grade, I want to tell you something. Before I move on to this next circumference problem. Speaking of circles and round objects, I just had the most delicious breakfast, guys. I'll draw it for you because this is so good. Okay. I made, I used a wheat bun. So I'm going to draw a wheat bun. Then I got a big 1/4 pound onion burger, which is just like a regular burger that you grill up, but it's got like onions in it. It's really good. Then I put a fried egg on top of that. And I really cooked that fried egg so that the yolk didn't like get all runny on my burger. So I got a burger with egg. I put 3 pieces of turkey bacon on there. Then I put some pickle hummus because I know burgers have pickles, so I put pickle hummus in there. I put horseradish mustard and hot sauce. All in there. And then I put a piece of Munster cheese, which is like a white cheese, and I melted it all together. And then I served that all on top of a bed of hash browns. So I made hash browns, and I lined the plate that I put the burger on, and the hash browns, which were like the breakfast fried potatoes, were all under the burger. And I could have never done that if it wasn't for coronavirus. So... You know, got to look at the bright side of things, you know? Also, I'm kind of sick, so I need the food, you know? Okay, suppose the radius of a circle is 3 units. What's the circumference? So there's 2 ways you can do... Well, there's really 1 way. Let's look at this circle. That's a radius, right? Our radius is 3, which means that if you go the full way across, that's another 3. So the diameter is actually 6, right? Radius equals 3, but diameter equals 6. Okay? Now, what I meant by there's 2 ways to do this is, which formula are you going to use? Are you going to use the 2 times r times pi or diameter times pi? I like diameter times pi because it's just shorter. You know, it's like less work. 6 pi. 6 times pi. That's diameter times pi. So, and then if you do, well, hold on. Well, pi is 3.14, right? I guess we got to do this by hand. We don't have to do it by hand, but I just want to. So 3.14 times, what was it, 6? 6 times 4, 24, carry a 2. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8, and then put a decimal, and then 6 times 3 is 18. 18.84 units. Dude, you know what? Doing math by hand is actually quite easy, quite relaxing. And also, I think there's a calculator, so you could use their calculator if you want. Doesn't matter to me. Okay, this next type of problem was the one where we kind of had a little bit of problems. The circle has a circumference, so circumference is 907.46 units. That's what the circumference of the circle they're telling us is. So if you go all the way around this circle, if you go all the way around that circle, it will be 907 units. Now, 907, how did we get circumference? Well, circumference is diameter times pi, right? So how do we find out what is just the little diameter if we already know the circumference? Now, what you should really think is, well, this is the full diameter. I mean, this is the full circumference. So I'm just going to go ahead and divide everything. I'm going to divide both sides, this 907 and this. I'm going to divide both those sides by pi. And this I will not do by hand. This I will use a calculator. 907.46. 907.46. And I'm going to divide by pi. It equals. And it's 288.8. So what we just found was that the diameter, because these two cancel, the diameter is equal to 288.85. I'm just going to put the first two numbers, 0.85. 288.85. Okay? You could barely see that. Let me write that properly. 288.85. That's the diameter. Now, let's see what the question is. Their question says, how do I close this? How do I close this now? Oh, there it is. Okay. What's the diameter of the circle? So hold on. I used the pi button. Let me see what happens if I just use 3.14. So I'm going to clear, and I'm just going to do, again, I'm going to do 907.46. 907.46. And I'm going to divide by 3.14. Okay, yeah. So use 3.14 because if you use the pi button, that's actually the exact answer. So that's funny that that's the exact answer. But they probably just wanted you to use 3.14, which I already forgot what that was. 907.46. It was like 80 something? No, it wasn't. Divided by 3.14, it was 289. Yeah, 289. So 289 units. Cool. Next question. We have a circumference. Okay, so this is the same kind of problem. We have a circumference, a full circumference of 452. So right, 452.16 units. And that is the circumference. So that means that that is equal to diameter times pi. Okay? Well, what do we do to both sides? We're going to divide by 3.14. AKA, we're going to divide by pi. Okay? 3.14 and pi, they're going to be the same thing in this problem. So pi divided by pi equals 1. So you are left with diameter. And let's do this division. 452.16. 452.16 divided by 3.14 equals 144. So I'm going to go ahead and close my calculator and type in... Oh, hold on. Let me write this down first. 144 is the diameter. But we don't, the question is, what is the radius? And radius is just half of a diameter. So what's half of 144? Half of 100 is 50. Half of 44 is 22. So 50 plus 22 is 72. So 72 is the radius. Hooray. Let's show the summary. 4 out of 4. That's not bad. That's not bad. All right. Let's keep going, though. So we just did that. Circumference review. Did I really? Huh. Hold on real quick. Oh, okay. So there we go. We finished that one. Okay, so circumference of a circle, done. Okay, good job. Now let's do area. Area is a little bit different formula, but we're gonna solve it kind of the same way. So let's see if you can see the problem pretty good. Yes, you can. So let's erase this and let's write down the area of a circle is area. Oh my gosh, I just bumped the camera and somehow it looks better now. Area equals pi times radius to the second power, as we remember. Okay, that's the area of a circle. So it says here, find the area of a circle with radius 3. Let's warm up with that. Area equals pi times 3 squared. 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. So we have 9 times pi, or pi times 9. Again, I'm going to use the calculator for this one because I'm feeling lazy. Oh, wow, it says here, either enter an exact answer in terms of pi or use 3.14 and enter the decimal. I am just going to use 9 times pi because they said we're allowed to do that. That's going to be a nice little shortcut. Now, if you need to find out the decimal version, you do 9 times 3.14. Okay? Easy peasy, right? Okay, find the area of a circle with diameter 16. So, once again, area is equal to pi times radius squared, pi r squared. Actually, I have a good joke about that I will tell you later. All right? The diameter is 16, so let's write that down. D equals 16, which D we don't use in this formula. Oh, whoops. Diameter we don't use in this formula. We use radius. Radius is going to be half of a diameter, so half of 16 is 8. So now let's do our problem. If the radius is 8, then we know that the area is going to be pi times 8 squared. 8 squared is 8 times 8. Hopefully you all know that this is 64 times pi. Again, I'm going to enter an exact answer because I don't feel like using a calculator. I feel like just getting used to writing the exact answer, 64 times pi. That's kind of cool, right? Like that's makes life a little bit shorter. Ooh, this is a good problem. So, find the area of a circle with a circumference of 50.24. So hold on. So circumference equals 50.24. This is what we know. And circumference, that's the diameter times pi formula. Remember that. So that's what we have here. So do you guys remember, what was that step we did to find out if this is the whole circumference, how do we find out just the diameter? Well, what we did was we divided by pi. So I am going to do that on both sides. Pi divided by pi is 1. So we're left with 1d equals 50.24. I feel like I've done this. Oh, whoops. 50.24 divided by 3.14. I think I've seen this problem before, so I think it's going to be 16, just like by estimating. Oh, nice. So I got diameter equals 16, which we don't care about diameter. We only care about radius. When we're doing area problems, you need to use the radius. So if the diameter is 16, the area the radius is 8. And didn't we do 8 on the last problem? Yeah, let's do area now because they asked for the area. Area is equal to pi times r to the second power, which is 8 to the second power, which is 64 pi, once again. That's where I saw it. It was on the last problem. Huh. 64. Oh, no, they want like a decimal answer. Okay, that's fine. 64 times 3.14. 200.96 square units. 200.96. They used units squared, but I like square units. It's the same thing. Okay, find the area of a circle with a radius of 2. Okay, they're starting to get easier now. So area formula. They said area, so area is equal to pi times radius to the second power. In this case, that's pi times, what is the radius? 2. 2 to the second power. 2 to the second power is 4, so you have 4 times pi as your area. And I think this one we can do, this one we can do exact answers. 4 times pi. Anytime you can do exact answers, anytime they give you that option, just do that option. Because believe me, it's going to make your life easier. Like, you see how easy that was? I just did pi times 4. I didn't even have to calculate anything. Pretty cool, huh? All right. Diameter equals 14. All right, I'm just going to erase this. Because we're just going to use the area formula again. We know diameter, d, equals 14, yes? D equals 14. So what does radius equal? Radius is the smaller one. It's the halfway. So half of 14, say it at home. It is 7. That's correct. So let's do this calculation. Pi times 7 to the second power. 7 to the second power is 49. So we are going to be left with 49 times pi. 49 pi. 49 times pi. I'll tell you that pi joke now. I was teaching a kid about the area of a circle, and he was very excited that he learned that this was the area of a circle. He was so excited that he told his dad, "Dad, I learned the area of a circle. You won't believe it." He said, "Sure I will, son. You tell me, what's the area of a circle?" His kid says, "Pi r squared." And then the dad looks at him confused for a bit. He says, "Boy, pi are round. Cornbread r squared." It's a good joke, all right? Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Oh my God, I keep getting emails. Hold on. Let me turn off this window capture just because I keep getting too many messages. Oh, they're from a student in the class. I'm not gonna drop names, all right? Okay, let's turn this window capture back on. All right. So we got find the area of a circle with a circumference 6.28 units. Okay, so this is a problem where we're starting with circumference. So we're starting with C equals 6.28. And remember, if you're doing circumference, that's diameter times pi, right? Okay. Now, if you want to find out what is the mystery D, you have to get rid of pi, so you have to divide by 3.14. Okay? I'm going to let you do this calculation at home. 6.28 divided by 3.14. Please do that. Okay? If you have done that, you will notice that, 6.28 is just 3.14 fits twice into 6.28. So when you divide them, you just end up getting 2 for the diameter. Okay? The diameter equals 2, which means that the radius is half of that. Radius equals 1. Right? Now we just got to find the area. So do we have room here? I'm going to draw like a little squiggly line. Area, nope, not enough room. Maybe here. Area, that's enough room, equals, this one's pi times r to the second power. Okay? So this one's going to be pi times a 1 to the second power. Everyone at home, 1 to the second power, 1 squared. What's 1 times 1? You get 1 times pi. And if you get 1 times pi, that's simply pi, right? 1 times pi is pi. I am saying pi way too much. I don't have the pi button, so I'm just going to enter the value that I always use for pi, which is 3.14. Sweet. We are at 20 minutes now. Okay. Making good progress. Next one. We got a circle with a radius of 5. They said find the area. Oh, this is easy. Area equals pi times radius to the second power. Now, the way I remember that this is always the area formula is when you see to the second power, the reason they have to the second power is because when you measure area of a shape, there's not just length. Area is not just length, and it's not just width. Area is both length and width come together to make the inside of a shape. So that's why they put a 2 there, because 2 is supposed to remind you of like there's a 2-dimensional object. Okay. Let's do this calculation. Pi times the radius is 5, so we're doing 5 to the second power. 5 to the second power is 25, so we have 25 pi. Let's see if they let us use the... Oh, they did. They're such good pals. 25 times pi, square units. Check it, and we are very good. We are very good here. Okay. Let's take a tiny break because I want to show you something real quick. So it's a surprise. So this is a really hilarious video that I found. And here's the...
It's March 14th, which means it's time to celebrate.
All right. Window capture, and there we go. Okay. Here we go. Oh, wow, this is not 8th grade math, this is 7th grade math. I should probably change that real quick. So we're going to be watching this young lady rant about pi, because it's just hilarious, and she's very smart. So let's see what she has to say about pi here. All right.
Rate the worst number in the universe. Now, I know that usually on Pi Day, 3.1 million people flood the streets to celebrate or protest, but this year, due to the new coronavirus, we are having a purely online event, so I will have to ask you to please restrain yourself somehow from gathering in a large Pi-enthused or Pi-furious crowd. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, if everyone's gonna get this virus anyway, why not get out there with your pro or anti-Pi signs, get in a fight, express yourself with vigor and spittle? I mean, new coronavirus cases are growing exponentially. Before too long, there will be 3.14 million cases worldwide. And if the exponential trend continues, then after that, there will be 3.14 trillion people who have it, and there's not even that many people on the planet, which I guess means we gave it to aliens. Or maybe time travel or zombies are involved. I don't know exactly how it's gonna happen, but the math checks out. Probably aliens. And you know what? Pi is a real problem here, because pi is buddies with E. And E is so fundamentally intertwined with exponential growth that if the coronavirus has exponential growth, then E definitely has also caught it by now. And so pi, is that a cough? Pi, do you have a fever? Okay, so maybe there's other curves in mathematics besides the pure exponential, like the sigmoid, which, I don't know, sigmoid kind of sounds like an alien to me. And sure, this sigmoid tapers off eventually, maybe at like some percentage of the human population, maybe more, including aliens or ghosts. But the beginning is still exponentially increasing, so E is still involved. And probably pi and E weren't very careful about not spreading it between them because they figured if E gets it, pi is getting it no matter what, so why bother? I guess pi didn't realize that you get less sick if you just get coughed on once than if you're making out with each other all day. And if you think pi and E aren't that close in this equation, well, maybe pi got it while commuting. Long story short, I'm not saying you can't use pi in your calculations, but don't you think the right thing for pi to do is take a sick day this pi day? I mean, if you're pi's boss, and you're saying, pi, I need you to come help me with this circumference, then you're partly responsible when pi shows up despite being sick, and then all the other numbers you need start getting sick too. Or maybe you can't get a virus from a mathematical abstraction, but you still have to worry about the physical pi day pies. May I suggest that for safety reasons you eat all 2 pi radians by yourself? Also, don't share your pi glass of water, which is like a half a glass of water but half the long way, and definitely don't share your 3.1 fork. Now you may be thinking, well, tau is 2 times pi, so if pi gets the new virus, then tau will too. And realistically, tau is probably going to get sick. If not from pi, then from 2, or I don't know, Planck's constant or something. But there's a big difference to the world between the scenario where numbers get sick just a few at a time, and the scenario where a lot of numbers get sick all at the same time. Especially for e, pi, and tau, which are pretty old numbers. If they get the new coronavirus, they'll probably have to go to Hilbert Hospital to help them get better, but Hilbert Hospital doesn't have enough room to fit all the numbers. So if pi goes to school or work, even though it has a cough and a fever, and then it spreads the virus, even just to a small area of neighboring numbers, it could mean there's no room left in the hospital, and then all those numbers die, and no one can do calculations involving circles anymore, and that's it for technology. No more internet, no more games, wheels just stop working. It's like dividing by 0. But say pi washes their hands frequently with soap and water, stays home, and calls their healthcare provider. Maybe a friend volunteers to drop off some supplies so pi doesn't have to go to the store. It might not save the world, but it does save lives. If tau gets coronavirus even just a day or 2 later than it would have otherwise, by then maybe E is better and there's room in the hospital and both pi and tau live and we can have round things again. Happy Pi Day! Which, by the way, coronaviruses are called coronavirus because the virus itself has a mathy, roundy shape with sticky outy bits, like a corona, a crown. And it's made out of stuff that soap smooshes apart, which is why soap is antiviral as long as you smoosh it around real good. Take that, coronavirus. Get 'em. Yeah, smoosh those shapes. Smoosh those shapes. Smoosh those shapes. Smoosh those shapes.
Wash your hands. Wow, that was cool, dude. I was very happy about that. All right. Cool. Let's go on to, which one did we just do? We just did area of a circle, right? Yep. Now let's go to area of parts of circles. Sounds good to me. That's the last one I'll do. Because what is it? It's like, yeah. I think this is the last one that we'll do. Parts of circles. So now, that last section was probably the one that most people struggled on that test was, like if they gave you a circumference, you got to be able to find the area. That's what those problems are about. So let's make this big again. And let's get back to the math. So, it says here, find the area of this shape. Hey, real quick, do you think that this is a half circle, a third of a circle, a quarter circle? What do you think? To me, it looks like half of a half, which is a quarter circle. So to find the area of this shape, this is what we're going to do. We'll find the area like normal. We're going to do pi times. Now the radius of this circle, like pretend that you could see the full circle here. Go from the center to the edge. The radius is 2. Okay? So we're going to do 2 to the second power. That's 4. So that's 4 pi is the area of a full circle. Now, this is not a full circle. This is not a full circle. So this is the area of a full circle. But this picture is not a full circle. This picture is a fourth of a circle. So that means we need to take this answer, 4 pi, and divide it by 4 so that we get this little slice. Oh, and look at this. 4 divided by 4 equals 1. So we get 1 times pi, which is simply pi units. Okay? Okay, this one. This one is a semicircle. So a semicircle, we're going to cut it in half at the end. All right? We are going to cut this in half at the end. So what is the diameter equal to? That's 10. The diameter is 10, which means, hold on, which means that the radius has to be 5. Okay? So then let's find the area of a circle, and then let's cut it in half, because there's half a circle. So area equals pi times 5 squared. 5 squared is 25 times pi. So 25 times pi is the area of a full circle, but we only have half a circle, so we got to do half that area. Half of 25 pi is 12.5 pi. Okay, 12.5 times pi. Because I just took half of 25, and that, if you do that, 25 divided by 2 is 12.5, So you get 12.5 pi. Or you could do 12.5 times 3.14, but I prefer the exact answer. It's much faster. Here we also have a semicircle. So let me erase everything except the formula. Okay. The radius here is r equals 4, so let's do it. Area equals pi times 4 squared. 4 squared is 16, so you get 16 pi. But this is a full circle, this right here, and in our picture we only have a half circle. So since we only have a half circle, we got to cut this in half. And if you do that, you get 8 times pi. Not 16 times pi, you get 8 times pi. So let's see if they, oh my gosh, they let us do exact answers again. 8 times pi. Hit the check button, and we are done. And then finally we have a semicircle. So a semicircle is going to be half again. In this case, we have a diameter because it goes all the way across. If the diameter is 6 all the way across, then the radius is 3 halfway across, right? Area equals pi times 3 to the second power. 3 to the second power is 9. 9 times pi is 9 pi. And since we have a half a circle here, we can't do 9 pi. We got to do half of 9 pi. Half of 9 is 4.5 times pi. And that is it. Wow, that was quick. We're at 31 minutes. We're still going to do a little bit more, guys. Let's do area of composite shapes. That way we'll only have 2 to do tomorrow. Okay? Sound good? There we go. Composite shapes. Ooh. Okay, let me make sure you can see these. Okay. So now we're not doing just circles. Now we're going to do all sorts of shapes. So let me do this. The area of a rectangle is length times width, and the area of a triangle, is going to be length times width, but you're going to cut it in half, okay? Because it's half a rectangle. So there's 2 triangles and then 1 rectangle. Well, 1 square right in the middle. So we're going to have 3 areas to add up, okay? Let's find the area of the square first, because that one's the easiest. The area of the square is equal to length of 2 times width of 2. So the area of the square is 4 square units. Okay? I'll even put SQU and boom, boom. Okay? 4 square units. Now let's do the triangles. There's going to be 2 triangles, so I'm going to put like a little line there. First triangle is going to be length of 2, width of 2, and then you're going to cut it in half. That equals 2 times 2 is 4, divided by 2 is 2. So the area of the little triangle is simply 2 square units. And then the big triangle is going to be area equals, well, the length of it is 6, the width of it is 2, then we're going to cut that in half because it's a triangle. And so 6 times 2 is 12, then cut that in half, that is 6 square units. And so now we're going to take all 3 areas of all 3 shapes and put them together. 4 plus 2 plus 6 gives me 12 square units. Ooh, this one is look at this picture and think, how many shapes does this thing have? I'm actually gonna do the work on the computer screen this time, so you guys can see it a little better. So let me enlarge this real quick. Perfect. Here we go. So here's this picture. I'm going to use a marker, and let's put a little dotted line here. I'm gonna write the area of each shape inside of it. Okay. This little square has it's 2 by 2, so length times width is going to be 4 square units. So I'm going to put a big 4 in the middle of there. Next. This is a triangle, so we're gonna cut it in half. We're gonna cut the area in half after we do length times width. Okay, do length times width. 2 times 2, that's 4, but then cut it in half. That's gonna be 2. Do you see how it's kind of like half the size of the big square next to it? That's why we knew. Then this one, this triangle is gonna be 2 times 5. That's 10, but we're gonna cut it in half because it's a triangle. So, oh, whoops, undo. So 2 times 5 is 10, but then if you cut it in half, you just get 5. And then finally, 3.5 times, oh my gosh, 2 plus, all right, let's see this whole length. 2, that's 4. 4 plus another 5, that's 9. So we got 3.5 times 9, and then you're going to cut that in half because it's a triangle. Let me do that on the calculator. 3.5 times 9, that's 31.5. Then I'm going to cut that in half. 15.75. 15.75. And if you add all that together, you get, I believe you get 26.75. I did that mentally, but let's see. 15 plus 5 is 20, then 24, then 26. 26.75, yeah. And give me 2 seconds because I'm going to... Dude, people keep blowing up my email. All right, that's fine. It's students. They're checking in. That's amazing. That's awesome. I will respond to every single question as soon as I finish making this video, okay? Thank you for your patience. So... next question. Next question is this. So, man, this you actually have the freedom to break this up into however many shapes you want. So I think I'm gonna do Ooh, I got a really good idea. This looks like a big rectangle, but oh, whoops. This looks like a big rectangle with a big triangle cut out of the side of it, right? And as you can see, like my drawing skills on the computer are not the best. But do you see how this is a big rectangle, but they took a little triangle out of it? So this is how I'm going to do it. Area of the rectangle. Area of the rectangle is equal to length times width. So length times width is 4 times 8. So let's do 4 times 8. Perfect. And which equals 32. Okay, 32 square units. It's so hard to write like this, but I'm doing it. 32 square units. Now, the purple part is obviously not 32 square units because that would mean that you had the full rectangle. We're going to find the area of this little rectangle. So, I mean this little triangle. So let's find the area of this little triangle so that way we can subtract it from the big area. Again, this is a triangle, so we're going to cut in half after we do length times width, okay? Length times width is 2 times 4, that's 8. But then 8 cut in half is 4. So this little triangle in the corner has an area of 4. So we're going to do 32 minus 4 square units. And I bet you some of you can probably do that in your head. So please do that before I finish writing this. 32 minus 4. If you said 28 square units, you are correct. 28 square units. So I'm going to go to the answer, 28, hit enter. Boom. I was going to try to like break this up into many shapes, but I think this is the easiest way. Like it was a full rectangle, but then you just took out this little piece. Final question. Ooh, house. This one I like to draw. This one we can draw. Cause I'm kind of sick of drawing on the computer. You know, it's tough. Let's see how good my picture comes out. We got a rectangle. Oh, way better than in the computer. Then we got a house top. Then we got 7. Then we got, let's drag this over a little. We got 3 and 3 and 7 and 3 again there. Okay, let's find the area of this. Well, let's find the area of this first. This is pretty easy right here. Length times width, that's 3 times 7, that's 21 square units. 21 square units. Okay? Then let's do the triangle. The triangle is a triangle, so we're going to cut in half after we do length times width. Well, area of the triangle is equal to length times width. The length is 7. The width of the triangle is 3, or the height is 3. So that's 7 times 3, but then we're going to cut that in half, all right? 7 times 3 is 21. 21 cut in half is 10.5. So that's all that. Inside of there is 10.5. So if you take this area and you take this area and put all those square units together, 21 plus 10.5, it's going to be 31.5 square units. Check it, and we're done. So again, just do the assignments that are on your manage assignments thing that we did today. You don't have to go past what we did today. But if you see anything that interests you, like the area of kites or area challenge or just anything that interests you, nothing's stopping you. Please go ahead. I'd be happy to give you extra credit when we come back. That'd be great. So anyway, hope you enjoyed today's lesson, and I will talk to you tomorrow.